Huge breaking news coming out of Tottenham Hotspur. Ange Postecoglou has been sacked by Daniel Levy. Ange Postecoglou, who lifted Tottenham's first trophy in 17 years. A Europa League out in Bilbao. A monumentous day for this football club, but long term, Daniel Levy does not think it is good enough. And after finishing 17th in the Premier League table, 38 points, the writing was on the wall, I guess, for Ange Postecoglou. And Daniel Levy has viewed that as not good enough to take Spurs, to where he thinks they should be. More success, more trophies, consistency, etc. But yeah, it's quite shocking. I'm going to give my opinions on it and reveal whether I think that is the right decision. And I'm just in another state of shock again. Tottenham have done it again. One of those, bits of news where you just sit there and go, oh, it's always bloody Tottenham, isn't it? But yeah. But before we get any further, if you are new to the Social Spurs YouTube channel, then drop us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below. Was that the right decision by Daniel Levy? Should he have sacked Ange Postecoglou? And who should be next? Who do you want to manage Tottenham going forward? But yeah, if we look at Ange Postecoglou's tenureship at Spurs, last season he finished 5th. We started the season really strongly, didn't he? And the first 10 games we went undefeated. And then as the season went on, injuries, and it unravelled, and we finished 5th in the Premier League, which was quite good. We qualified for the Europa League, could have qualified for the top 4. If we'd beat Manchester City in that controversial game. But went into the next campaign, which obviously the season that's just gone by us. We finished 17th, as I said in the intro, 38 points. But we did win the Europa League. So a tale of two halves, you could say. And the euphoria we got from the Europa League was fantastic. It was amazing. But I guess when you judge a manager, you do judge them over the whole season, and the whole season is the Premier League. And Daniel Levy has said that this isn't good enough. He expects more from the manager. He expects him to be fighting on for all fronts. The injuries that has plagued us. Is Ange Postecoglou to blame for that? Does Ange Ball only work when you've got like a bloody 40-man squad where you can rotate week in, week out? We haven't really got that, and Daniel Levy won't do that. But when you look at it, though, is it the right decision? What is my opinion of it? Well, since Ange Postecoglou came in, I thought he was the man to take us to the next level. He always says the right things, or he did at least at the beginning. And the football we saw in the first 10 games of the previous season was fantastic. That was proper Ange ball. It was electric. But as that season went on, teams started to find us out a little bit. Injuries hampered us. So it was a bit of a struggle. We ended up, obviously, as I say, finishing 5th. So it did work out in the end. And then going into the next season, I thought, with a couple of signings, Ange hopefully could get more out of this Tottenham team. He only got Solanke as a first-team player. Lucas Bergval's come on leaps and bounds. Archie Gray was trapped in the deep end. But, he wasn't really given that first-team quality to really, get the most out of this side. So, as the season started last year, a couple of frustrating results against, Leicester, Newcastle, and then I was there for the other Leicester game and the Ipswich game, and I saw Palace, and you're watching it and you go, it's not working, there's something not right. And as most of you will know, I've been a massive fan of Ange Postecoglou, but it was that Everton game when we were 3-0 down at half-time, and I sat there and I thought, I don't think this is going to work long-term. I don't think Ange is the right man. And that's when I was starting to change my opinions on Ange Postecoglou. But then we had the Europa League campaign, and some of those results and victories in those games were completely different. He changed his style, he defended more. Look at the final, look at Frankfurt, look at Bodo Glimt away. He was adapting a bit more, but he heavily rotated the sides, didn't he? He had his A team, which he was just wrapping in cotton wool, Mickey van der Ven, Romero's for the Europa League. And in the Premier League, he pretty much wrote it off to, win that Europa League trophy. So it's a very tricky decision that Daniel Levy has had to make, because I can see why he would sack him. I could see why he would keep him. You know, he could have kept him for 6 months, seen how it had played out, and gone, yeah, that makes sense. Like sort of how Manchester United with Erik ten Hag after he won the FA Cup. But if the results don't pick up and carries on the same and we get more injuries, then Daniel Levy's got to sit there and go like, well, I've got to delay the inevitable, really. So it is a very tricky situation that Daniel Levy had on his plate. And as all of you know my opinions on Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy is the sole problem at Tottenham Hotspur. This summer is a massive summer for Daniel Levy either way. He's got to back whoever the new manager is. He's got to give him signings to go to that next level. That Europa League should be a springboard now to go and achieve more. Will it be? It's hard to tell with Daniel Levy. He could just be happy and content with what we've achieved so far. But, yeah, I mean, I agree with the sacking. I feel like it was, I would have been happy if we kept Ange on for 6 months. I would have been like, yeah, fair play, he's earned that, hasn't he, from winning the trophy. Poch couldn't do it, Conte couldn't do it, Mourinho couldn't do it, and he has. But if the fact that he's gone, I'm like, I'm sort of okay with that. And then the search for a new manager now begins, and who could it be? That's what it's going to throw up an absolute span in the works. I'll be doing some videos the next few days about the next likely manager and who can take the helm for Tottenham. But we'll stick with talking about Ange Postecoglou because, the first Australian manager in the Premier League, the way his media interviews went as the season went on, he dropped that line, didn't he, earlier in the campaign, being like, I always win stuff in my second season, and he was proven right. And even during his post-match speeches in the title parade, he was like, season 3, I'm always, is always better than season 2, and and then loads of people were joking saying, but the character gets killed off, doesn't he, in season 3, or season 3 sometimes gets cancelled after being approved. So yeah, it's a strange one because I feel like I've made my opinions clear that I really wanted Ange Postecoglou to work. I really thought he was going to work and be that manager to take Spurs to the next level and harmonise the fan base and change the mentality. And you could say he did do that because we won something, but if you're finishing 17th as well, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough, which is an absolute shame. But yeah, I feel like Tottenham has got a long way to go, to pick up the pieces now to then get back to where we think we should be. Because what sort of club is Tottenham? If someone says to me that next season, we finish 10th and you win an FA Cup, I'm like, that's fine by me. Back in the Champions League, that's going to be grueling. We've got the money now to try and compete. It's really hard to know where Tottenham fits into the football ecosystem in the football ladder because it's so dog eat dog. And what manager do you pick? We've done everything, haven't we? We've done project managers like Poch and what Ange was meant to be. We've done trying to get a winner in, and they didn't win in Mourinho and Conte. So it's a very complex situation, and I'm glad I've got Daniel Levy with having to pick who I want. I mean, I wouldn't mind Thomas Frank. I think he would be my front runner, but who knows what Daniel Levy's going to do? Probably end up with bloody, I don't know, Phil Brown of Southend and Hull City fame. But yeah, that's my opinions on the Tottenham managerial exit of Ange Postecoglou. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and yeah, just let me know who you want. Who do you want as that next gaffer? And until next time, see you guys later, and ciao.